Oh, hey.
Hey,
Welcome over 50 starting over, everyone. I'm Barry Edwards.
and I'm Merle Garrison.
Oh, we have such a gloomy day here today.
Do you
Yuck.
really?
Yeah, it's fine. I guess it's November. I mean, we've had such a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous fall. And this week we've had like three really, typical kind of cold, damp days that tough to get the dog out there. So he's all wound up and, whatever. It's that time. It'll get nice again.
Yeah. It's an interesting time of the year that we have going on right now. Hey, did you hear about this Beaver moon?
No.
I
The hell is
know. I
that?
like what was a Beaver moon? Well, it's a supermoon that's happening here today, as a matter
What
of
does
fact,
this
tonight.
super moon mean?
I used to.
Is that when it's really big?
It is, but there's a little bit more to it. Let me read this to you because I did you ever hear of a supermoon when you were growing up?
No, I don't think I did until about 10 to 20 years
Yeah,
ago.
maybe they didn't
But I
call it
remember
that.
one. I remember one. It was easily 10 years ago. I was driving down the street going home to my house in University Heights late at night, and I was going down this peaceful side street, and the moon looked unbelievably huge straight in front of me.
You know,
And that's the only time I recall that. I'm not like a big I don't look up in the sky a ton, and for a guy that loves the thought of UFOs and stuff so much, I do not spend a lot of time gazing up into the heavens.
I feel like I'm slanted here, and my whole
That's okay,
contraption
dude. Most
here is
people are
like
listening anyway. Who cares?
totally. I'm like I'm gonna fall.
I look like I just got out of a war. Like my shirt's all torn up and my hair's all messed up and
I love it though. It's great. I feel like that's what the show is. It's just a couple of guys having a conversation. This
well,
is good,
interesting
right?
conversation. So tell us about
Well,
that
let's
because I
let's
want
go
to get
because
onto the Mike Tyson fight that's
well,
tonight.
well, well, hold on because I'm excited about that too. But this is cool. Okay, so what you just described could be one of two things because sometimes it's due to a trick of the eye. When the moon is near the horizon, for example, it looks large, and it's a phenomenon called moon illusion. I never knew that, but I
Me
did
neither.
notice that at the horizon, sometimes it's like, holy cow, that's a huge. Okay, but other times it can look large because the moon is physically closer to the Earth, and
No,
these events are known as supermoons. Now,
that's what
I
I
didn't
would
believe this,
expect.
but here it is. The
Well,
moon,
there's the
there it
orbits
is.
are elliptical, right?
That's right. The moon's orbit's not a
Hmm.
perfect circle.
Hmm.
Instead, very good, Barry. You were paying
Well,
attention in
we all
that
know
class.
that. We learned that in school, grade school.
Well, people were trying to tell me, oh, the moon's a lot closer to the Earth today.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Really? Like, okay, how much closer? Well, here's the thing. I didn't know that. When the moon, okay, so it appears about 14% brighter and 7 percent larger than the average
That's a
moon.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the comparison is amazing. So when it's that close to us, apparently, let's see here. It says that supermoons are not rare. The closest it is to us is about like the difference between when it's furthest and closest is equal to three what is it, diameters of the Earth. So
Wow.
like you put three Earths
Yeah.
together, that's how much of a difference, that's how much closer
Well, you know what?
the moon gets.
What we don't realize, and this is important, what we don't realize is how far away the moon is from the Earth on average. It's way far away. So, talking about going to the moon, and you're talking about don't believing that we ever went to the moon. There's firmament and not being able to get outside the firmament. People in
Yeah.
Christianity believe. And then the main argument is, well, we can't get through the Van Allen
That's the
radiation.
big deal. The
No, it's
Van
not.
Allen radiation.
It's so simple.
Is it
It's the shape
very
of a fig.
simplified it?
Yeah, it's the shape of a figure eight. It primarily it's open around the poles of the Earth, and
Yeah.
you think, well, well, we don't go to the North Pole and launch,
Mm,
dude.
mm.
You just take the slightest angle. The moon is so far away,
Yeah,
and the
no
then
kidding.
the radiation belt is so far away. You take the slightest angle, and you just keep going,
And
and
you
you go
shouldn't get
right,
radiated.
right, correct.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
I
try
learned that
that.
from scientists.
Yeah, I'm not gonna trust those guys.
Yeah, don't trust
Yeah,
scientists. Yeah, don't get in your car, dude.
I'm
Don't
not
trust
gonna get in the
scientists.
space capsule. I used to want to be an astronaut growing up, and I was at a science museum a few years back, and they had one of those space capsules in there. I had had an MRI about a month before that.
Oh, so you got claustrophobia going out the
Figured
wazoo.
out that I had claustrophobia, and I thought, oh my God, when I saw how small that capsule was,
You and I would never
how did they do
qualify
that?
as astronauts. You
No
got to be
kidding.
rather like under a certain height to qualify as an
Yeah,
astronaut.
you really do. You got to be
Yeah,
like nearly 5 feet, just
yeah.
nearly. But yeah, this thing is called the Beaver Moon. It's got its roots in Native American traditions, according to NASA. November's full moon might have earned this name because it coincides with a time when beavers become more active as they prepare for winter. This is also called the frost or frosty moon and the snow moon, among other names. So, this is the fourth super moon of the year, the last one. The next time we'll see the super moon is next fall, and they happen consecutively. So, you'll see fours every time. It'll happen all 4 months. So we've had a super moon the last 3 months in a row, and they've been spectacular.
Dude, I totally don't understand that. Are you saying that we don't have four supermoons a year? That some years are different than others?
No, I'm saying every year we have four of them, and they're always in a row because you're at that point of the ellipse. So
Oh,
they're always, it's not going to be like you have a super moon in June and then another one in November. It's going to
oh.
be June, July,
Well, that
August, and
makes sense,
September.
as you
Right.
say.
It
So it's
does.
coming around, and it's like, okay.
Right.
So
So
now,
this is the last
what
one.
is the interval? Is it literally
It's every year.
month?
Every year you're going to see, and I think it's always going to be in the fall, but I'm not 100% on that. I didn't get that far in the
Yeah, I'm
research.
wondering what the interval is between seeing them. I would think it would be a month. I am so uneducated in this stuff. I don't know.
Well, get this, man. Right now, there's all kinds of really cool stuff that you can see in space. If you right now,
Hmm.
if you're looking up
A lot of satellites
at
up there
these,
these days.
there's a lot of planets that are out right now. Five will be visible over the course of the evening tonight. Five planets. If you look low to the southwest around the sunset, you'll see Mercury, and then after twilight, looking a little higher in the
Wait,
sky, you'll see
dude,
Venus.
there's no way you could see Mercury.
That's what they're saying, that you
It's
can
supposed to be
see
so
it.
little. It's so
It
far
is.
away.
I don't know how you see it. I've never seen it, but they're saying that you can see it. These are the scientists, so they must be right.
Wow. Jeez, man.
You'll be able to see Venus right after twilight and looking in the same direction. You'll also be able to see Jupiter, which will appear brightly in the east, rising about 2 hours after the moon, and to the south, Saturn will already be elevated when the moon comes up. So, and then you'll be able to see Mars right around midnight in the east. So, all kinds of really cool stuff. Some meteor showers are coming in the next couple of months, two
Oh,
major
no
ones.
kidding.
So, lots of cool stuff going on. Get your telescope out and enjoy that.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah.
Um, okay. I wondering if you wanted this is like a hard segue, right into the Tyson
Let's do it. I can't
fight.
wait.
Yeah, I
Oh
got
my God. I
a
got
ton.
goosebumps right now, man.
Yeah, I did a ton of research on this because okay, so Mike Tyson, 58 years old, our age,
58. I can't,
our
like, can you
age.
imagine? Like, okay, Barry,
No,
tonight
man.
you gotta
Mhm.
fight this guy tonight, and you're gonna
Well,
probably
I
get
th-
hit in the head a bunch of times.
I think about as equating it to wrestling. I used to be a wrestler and all that, and could I
Right,
get back
right.
out there and do it? And because of my shoulder injuries, it'd be like that'd be the dumbest thing in the world to do. There's that angle. In other regards, if it weren't for my shoulders, I feel like hell yeah, I could do it. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but with a 27-year-old in his prime, I don't know about that. So there's a lot going on here. I did a lot of research about it because I didn't know too much about it. I'm not a big boxing fan or anything like that. But you and I, anybody around our age can relate. We all watched the Tyson fights back in the day. that he was just like nothing we'd ever seen before, just a force of destruction. I mean,
Oh,
destruction.
absolutely.
I mean, we
God.
all remember the Holyfield fight where Tyson bit his ear off. Do you remember where you were? I totally remember where I was.
I do. I had been invited to a one of those boxing parties,
Yeah.
because
We
it was
always went to
well,
boxing
Don
parties.
King came in when Mike Tyson started to get really good. Don King changed the game and he made everything pay-per-view. So if you wanted to see a Tyson fight,
Yeah, he
yeah,
ruined boxing.
yeah, you had to pay like over
Yeah.
$100 to see
Yeah.
it. So we'd have these parties where you'd go
Yeah.
in on it. And so I was at this party and I was watching it, and oh my God, I couldn't believe how angry I became when
Yeah.
he bit Holyfield's ear off because I was
Yeah.
so looking forward to that fight. And
And
it was
Holyfield was so
barbaric.
cool because he was like small for a heavyweight, but he was like in the best condition like of anybody ever.
Oh yeah,
And
he
he
looked
was like a
amazing.
Rocky movie, like it was all
Was like
will.
that.
He
And
just
it was
willed.
like good versus evil too, kind of thing.
Kinda,
It's like
yeah, kinda.
Holyfield was actually a minister coming in there, and Tyson was saying the most god awful things about
Yeah,
what he
yeah.
was going
He
to
was an
do to
animal. He was
Holyfield.
just an animal.
He
Yeah,
said
yeah.
he remember the way he talks too. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna kiss his beautiful lips," and then it's like, "What? What are you saying?"
Yeah, yeah.
I was horrified. I was
Right.
man. I'm telling you, I can't imagine getting in the ring with that guy. I last night,
No, me either.
just getting ready for this, I watched a couple of videos.
Mhm.
One of them was, he's 56-6. Of the 56 fights that he won, 50 of them are knockouts. So I saw 50 knockouts last night, and
Oh,
it
wow.
was sick.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, there
yeah.
were some. I almost cried a couple of times. So I said, and
Ah,
these people were getting punched so hard. I've never seen anybody punch this hard before. One guy, he knocked from the middle of the ring all the way into the ropes. From the
yeah,
middle of the rings, the guy
yeah.
bounced off the ropes. He knocked guys through the ropes.
And if
As
you,
they were falling down, he'd get another lick in there, just like a savage. I mean, it
uh-huh,
was, and these referees had to step in so quick before he'd actually
yeah.
knock the guy's brains out.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
never seen people's heads rock back so quickly, and a lot of times he's got a left hook
Uh-huh.
that you almost don't even see coming. It's like they had to play that thing in slow motion for you
Uh-huh.
to actually see it. Sometimes it looked like people just took a dive, which I wouldn't have blamed them because I
I
wouldn't have
know, I
wanted to
hear
get
you.
hit by that.
But his power came from his
But
massive back
well, this is it.
because he kept that left hook you're talking about. He
That's
kept
it.
it
That's
close
it.
to his body. It was
Yes.
all back.
That's why you
Yeah.
didn't see it. Like
Hmm.
he'd make that
Hmm.
thing come out so fast
Uh-huh.
that they'd have to play it in slow motion, and then oh my God, he hit him like, and it would just be devastating. So he had that left hook, and then he had the 1-2 where the right hook to the body, and
Mm.
then the hook to the head. As soon as they reacted
Yeah.
that body shot, he had him in the same hand so quickly, just
You hit him in the temple.
devastating.
Good night
Oh
with
God.
that powerful
Hit
hit.
one guy on top of the head, knocked him out that way. It was like he clubbed the guy. Like it
Right.
just I was a big boxing fan until they did all the pay-per-view stuff. And
Hmm.
I've never this is like the Michael Jordan of boxing. You're never gonna see this again.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Now, what do you know about Jake Paul as a boxer?
Okay, so here's what I know. The guy's 10-1. He has not fought. He's 27 years old. That's what he's got going for him. He was
Yeah,
a social media influencer turned
he is. Yeah.
boxer. So
Hmm.
he's relatively inexperienced as a boxer here. He's new to the game, and he's really not fought anybody that has any quality names. The big deal here is the money that's being made on this. Jake Paul's going to make about 40 million, and Tyson's going to
Tyson
make about
20.
20 million.
Yeah.
So and they're not even the headline fight. That they've made it so
They're not
this
the headline fight.
no, this is what's really
I didn't
amazing
know
here.
that.
Yeah, let's see if I can find this. It's actually a female boxing match that for the championship. That's the headline on this.
Really?
So they, yeah, and it's the first time, and it's the highest. They're saying this will be the highest grossing purse for a women's boxing match. So you got to kind of look behind this and say, it looks like this is going to be a real fight, but there's a lot of marketing and publicity and a lot of money behind this. So it almost makes it seem like, is this sort of like like worldwide wrestling, kind of
Uh-huh.
federation thing? I
Hmm.
don't know. But last night, what was it, yesterday or the day before when they did the weigh-ins, there was some drama going on there where apparently Jake Paul, when they went to stand, face to face after the weigh-in, apparently Jake Paul stepped on Tyson's foot, his bare foot, and Tyson was upset and slapped him in the face.
I saw
And
that.
uh,
Yeah.
and then so Jake Paul's out there going, "All right, well now you must die." And that's what he said last night. And so now he says now it's personal and it's on. So there seems to be some emotions going on, but this all could be show. I have no idea. But the
Uh-huh.
fact is that if I were going to bet on this, I would bet on Tyson.
Ah, that's kind of funny because and I'm going to pull up this clip right now. Share. Okay. And I watched this last night.
Oh, this is it.
I mean, it was that quick. Let's replay. How contrived do you think this is?
Well,
Huh?
he stood on his foot right there. Apparently, that you can't really see it right there.
Well, let me see if we can slow this down. Playback speed. Let's go to half speed because this went really quick.
There it is. Okay.
Look at Paul crouching right there.
It's like what? See, that's what he said. He got mad because he stepped on his foot. And look, and the way he approached him too. I think that all of that just.
I don't see. To get
it may
back
have
to your
triggered him.
point a
Yeah,
minute
go ahead.
ago, I don't. There's a lot of speculation that there's funny business going on here.
It kind of feels like there is, but then when it comes to Tyson and did he take his meds today or what?
Yeah.
I personally, if I'm Jake Paul, I'm going to be ready for just about anything, and I will have watched those films
Uh-huh.
some of them that I watched last night, and I'm going to stay away from that left hook as much as I can, and I don't know how you do that without boxing the guy. So
I don't know.
you can't let these every people. This is what I saw last night is people tried everything. Like, okay, let's just keep jabbing him so stay away you can't keep the guy off of you. He
Mm.
backs you up into the ropes and then you're done, or then he gets you in the center of the ring and you're done. I mean, what, there's nothing you
Well,
can do.
yeah, I don't know. If you're 27 years old in great perfect shape, your your strategy's easy. You got to be on a bicycle and try to take them past three
you,
rounds.
you gotta you gotta try to
For
wear them
sure.
down like that. But here's one thing that I was thinking about as I was watching all of those knockouts. These knockouts were surgical.
Uh-huh.
They it was as
They were
if
also
he
30 years
it was
ago.
it was well, hold on a second. It was as if he was an anesthesiologist and he knew exactly what buttons to press. I'm just saying this that Barry, I've wrestled you a couple times, more than a couple of times.
Yeah.
And one thing I know is that I don't have a chance wrestling you and getting into your domain of wrestling because you know that stuff and I don't. So
Yeah, it's
my only
reflex. Well,
my
shit's
only chance
reflex.
of
Yeah.
winning is to surprise you, sneak up behind you, fight dirty. That's what I have to do in order to beat you. And
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
and it has to be total surprise. And maybe you've had a few drinks. So, like I gotta have a strategy here.
Sure.
This is what I'm talking about is that this guy he might be 58 years old, but he's still got the reflexes of the anesthesiologist. Okay. He knows how to press those buttons. Jake Paul is totally inexperienced compared to this guy. Mike Tyson has had more amateur fights than this guy has had fights total. And so
There's
that experience point, I agree with you. If Mike Tyson is not wise and allows this guy to be able to hit him with that strong right jab that he's got a strong right hand. If he puts himself in the way of that, he's going to be done. But I think that, and I've seen Tyson train, I haven't seen Jake Paul train it at all. Those trainings are pretty serious that he's going through right here.
Well,
And I think this guy's pretty determined the
Paul put on
determination
muscle.
is one thing. Yeah.
Paul put on muscle and pounds. I'm sure that he went through a cycle or two of steroids. I don't know what kind of drug testing that they're doing. Um, and Paul's point of view, his rise in fame was interesting. He's a great promoter, YouTube sensation, influencer, just has good instincts for that stuff. He's from Westlake, Ohio, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he and his brother. I only got to know about him in the last 48 hours or so, for the most part.
Is he crazy? He seems so nutty. Like, what do you do?
Dude, I think that's really how he
This is the
just has
promotion.
garnered, he's garnered influence. And anyway, so his shtick has been to fight people that, like a few people in MMA, mixed martial arts, the ultimate fighting stuff, which I love. And that really killed boxing. But the thing is, people that excel at MMA are not strikers. They're not boxers.
It's a whole different, it's
when you get on the mat and you twist somebody.
That's the part I don't like about MMA. I just, when I see that, I'm like, oh God, seems
it's so brutal down there.
There's no sportsmanship there is what it seems like.
Well, see, the thing is, as a wrestler, obviously, that when somebody throws out an extremity, whether it's an arm or a leg, that's exactly what you're looking for. You grab it, they're done.
Right.
Because you start twisting and then you get them on the ground and twist them up. But so Jake Paul boxed a few of these guys, one of which he had a draw with. I forget his name. I didn't pay any attention to these as they happened. I only went back and looked for the purposes of this fight. And but Rogan says, I've heard Rogan talk about him, and he says he's a legit boxer. Like he's got skills. And
I mean, to be 10-1, he's got to have skills. I mean, you don't win
he's
10 fights like that.
And it's not like he's learning and training along the way. I'm sure he was making harder fights as he got better. You know what I mean? And so he stayed there competing. He is probably right about where this is the right level for him at this point, is what I mean, because Tyson's 58 years old. I don't think Tyson should be doing this. He doesn't need the money. I looked him up in those regards. He makes most of his money from selling pot. He's got some Tyson weed out there.
Everybody's got their own brand. Whoopi Goldberg just came out with her version.
I didn't know that. So he's doing well with that. He's also invested in a vegan fast food restaurant that plays off of McDonald's. I forget their name right now. Mr. Chicken, not Mr. Chicken, Mr. something. And
vegan
fast food. Impossible Burgers and all that garbage. So I looked that up using me and chat had a lot of chatting going on yesterday on all of these regards. And I'm like, okay, is that food any healthier? Well, no, not really. Because, those Impossible Burgers contain soybean oil and the different seed oils and different preservatives. And so they're not. But if you want to tell people that you're a vegan, you got that. Even calorie wise, they're not better in those regards either. So if you want to eat that fake stuff just for your own ego, go right ahead. So anyways, Tyson doesn't need the money. He's also been producing a couple of films. He doesn't need the money. So why is he doing this? Well, he says because he can, because he wants to show people he can still box. I mean, that's kind of it. I can understand that. If he still feels that vital, that virile, like I said, if my shoulders weren't as bad as they are, I probably would. I thought about getting into some jujitsu, because that's around, and I looked it up. I could go to Willoughby and take some jujitsu classes. Thought about that a lot. It's wrestling. And, but the shoulders are a thing. So if Tyson hasn't had these kind of nagging injuries and he just wants to go out and do it, and he's going to get $20 million, God bless him, I guess. But in my opinion, I think that he just stands to get hurt, and mostly hurt his legacy. Like professional sports people like Jim Brown went out on top, beautiful,
Right.
and people that ruin their legacy by staying too long, it's a damn shame. I
Well,
hope that doesn't
in
happen.
boxing, we haven't seen the comeback work out very well for anyone
Yeah.
except for George Foreman.
Mm,
And remember, George Foreman came back. He was in his 40s, so he wasn't in
right.
his 50s, in
And
his
that's a
late
while ago.
40s.
Yeah.
He was in his late 40s, and he came back, and it was actually very respectable. And
Uh-huh.
then remember the George Foreman cooker thing
The
that came
grill.
like
The
right around
grill.
that same time,
And
and
he's
then
got
he
like seven
just
kids
made
named George.
billions of dollars off of that.
Yeah, yeah.
So this guy, these boxers usually don't end up financially stable, but
Right.
It worked out for George Foreman. But I tell you what, I was a big Muhammad Ali fan growing up, and
Hmm.
my
He was the
dad
best.
looked a lot like Muhammad Ali to me. So whenever I would see Muhammad Ali out there, I would always think that I'd associate that with my dad. And I always thought my dad was kind of a badass. He was,
Sure.
and so no, I didn't think anybody could beat him. And I remember the first time I saw Muhammad Ali lose, I cried. It was like my
Uh,
dad got beat.
uh,
I just love this guy so much. And then
yeah.
no, the guy came back like three more times, and it was like he got beat by Leon Spinks. Oh, that was
Spinks was
so
something. Yeah.
humiliating.
Yeah.
Oh, and I hated that punk. And then he came back and got beat by Larry Holmes. And I mean,
Holmes was a big dude.
Holmes was a big dude. I saw Holmes get knocked out by Tyson on that film last night. It was
Oh,
ugly, man. It was
wow.
talk about a guy like he might as well have been trying to punch up in the air. I mean,
Yes.
Tyson
Yes.
just he ruins people's brains, and that's the thing. Getting back to what you were saying, nobody wants to see Mike Tyson on the mat bleeding,
Right.
unconscious. I don't
Right.
want to see that, and that's what I didn't want to see happen to Ali, but that did happen, and it ruined the legacy. But what about Jake Paul? What does he got? If he beats a 58-year-old, is that good? Like,
But it's Mike Tyson. Yeah,
true, true.
it's another appropriate
You
rung
beat
up
up
the
an old
ladder.
man. Yeah, I
But
guess
see,
it's
he's going a different route as he climbs up. So maybe now, if he does win, then he gets a legitimate shot with a legitimate boxer. Um,
I see that. I see that.
that's the route he's taking.
Well, and when I watched the Tyson the thing last night, it was pretty amazing because back in 85 and 86, that's when he first came out as a professional, and he was having a fight, like one or two fights a month at
Oh
that
my
point.
God.
He by the time it was 86, he had like 20 fights, and it was only a little over a year.
Wow.
And all of these guys, I mean, he knocks out almost all of them in the first round.
Mm,
And I'm telling you, Barry, it was like most of these guys that I saw getting knocked out, I'd never heard of before.
all right.
And I didn't remember seeing it either. And it was like, because what happened at the time of Tyson was the whole pay-per-view thing. So unlike the years before that, when you'd get to know all these boxers, if you didn't pay to see all these fights anymore, you didn't know the boxers anymore, and it
Yes.
really took away the American boxing culture.
It killed
And I
it.
thought
Yeah.
that was really a shame because you had not only these great heavyweights like Foreman and Frazier and Ali and Holmes and all these guys, but the middleweights with
Oh
you
yeah.
had Sugar
Sugar
Ray
Ray.
Leonard
He
and
was awesome.
what was it? The Durant
Oh,
Leonard
Roberto
Duran and
Durant. Roberto
oh the
Durant.
Nomas
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then
Hands of
the
Stone. Good show.
Hagler and Tommy
Oh,
Hitman
those were that was
Hearns
the heyday, man.
and Bramblett.
That was the
Yeah,
heyday.
oh my God,
We
they
were
were
in
so
college around that time.
well, it
Yeah.
was like every week it would be come on Wide World of Sports or
Yeah.
whatever, and you were
Yeah.
just like all into it. You knew who they were, and you had your
Yeah.
favorites. And I loved Sugar Ray Leonard. Remember, he got that eye
He was the best.
detachment. He was gone, and he came
Right.
back, and it was like he fought Hearns again, or Hagler. It was Hagler that he fought again, and
Yeah.
everybody was like, "You shouldn't fight. You shouldn't fight." And he came out, oh, and he beat Hagler in the end. It was just,
Solidly, as
oh,
I
it was
recall.
so
Yeah.
spectacular.
Yeah.
What great epic fights those were. I miss that so much.
Oh, it was great stuff. So I watched quite a few of Logan Paul's fights too. Oh, I watched the highlights of these fights that he's had with these, so-called boxers, these MMA guys and stuff like that. I didn't think he looked like quite the legitimate pro boxer. But like I said, Rogan says he's a legitimate boxer. Rogan knows. So there's that. Let me ask you, what is your prediction?
Yeah, I'm going to say that this one is going to be, there's not going to be a knockout here. I think it's going to go the distance. It's 8 rounds. Remember, they're
2
boxing with
minutes.
different gloves, different times, 2 minutes instead of 3. You've got the 14-ounce gloves instead of the 10-ounce gloves, as if that's going to make a big difference. I guess it
It's
does.
more padding is what it is.
Yeah, but I think it's going to go the distance, and I think that Tyson is fighting to keep his reputation, and knowing that guy and his determination, I think he's going to win this one.
Wow.
But we'll see. What do
All
you
right.
think?
Well, I'm going to before let me see something. I got something I wanted to key up, and now I can't find
Part
it.
of it is because I think that the fight is already. I think the decision on who's going to win is already done.
There's, people wonder about that. This is Colin Cowherd, who I'm not a big fan of. I don't know him that well, but when he talks a lot of football, he's just a sports announcer guy, and I think he's always wrong. Oh, he hated Baker Mayfield. That's why I hated it. I didn't
Oh,
like
okay.
it.
I already
He can
don't
come out
like this
swinging.
guy.
I think if it was 10 3-minute rounds, I would take Jake Paul. But I think the advantage for Tyson is a shorter fight and shorter rounds specifically. You've watched UFC fights, even the best fighters in their prime, you can get gassed by the end of these rounds, right? And UFC has longer rounds, obviously. The 3 rule changes for the fight, and you can I'm gonna go right after Tyson. Stun him, get him back on his heels, work him up, piss him off, get Mike to be a little untethered. That's possible. Longer it goes, I think everybody would take the younger kid. But, Jake's only 27 years old. So you're in your athletic prime from about 26, maybe about 25 to 31, 32. So, Jake's in tremendous shape. And I've always taken his boxing career, he's 10-1, seriously. I watched him fight Tommy Fury, Anderson Silva, Tyron Woodley, Nate Robinson was the big knockout. His only loss was a split decision to Tommy Fury, who's not a great fighter. He's a fighter. So my guess is Tyson. I stylistically, I just want to see what Mike has in the tank. I don't know. Listen, he still can bring a huge
he's Tyson
left hook. There's no
he's
question.
stay away from
I've seen some of the
left hook.
video with sparring partners. I wouldn't want to be Mike's sparring partner.
Impressive.
So I'm going to take Tyson in round 4.
Oh,
okay.
Tyson and Bush. So he thinks a knockout's going to happen. That's the part I don't think is going to happen, because Jake Paul is 27 and he's in his
the
prime.
gloves even.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I had a theory on this, Merle. My theory is if you're our age and you watch Tyson, you're going to pick Tyson.
Maybe.
But if you're 27 and Tyson's just an old man to you, you're going to pick Jake Paul.
I think you're right. You're right. I can't get out of my bias on this. It's like, you punk kid. I saw him wearing like a chicken on top of his head or whatever.
I saw that too.
I'll knock that chicken right off your head.
Right.
It's like, wait, you want to date my daughter? Like, that's what he should think when he goes in there. Like, this guy said something about his daughter or something.
Right. Okay, so I want to get to the odds. And this is the thing, though, Merle. This is the point of conversation right here. What
I
are
didn't
people
understand
putting
this when I was looking at it.
what are people putting money on?
Yeah.
That's what matters. What are Vegas odds?
So funny
That's
because
what matters.
that's what mattered in the presidential election too. It was the only thing that had it right was the
Is
Las Vegas people
That's
that
my
put their
point.
money on it. When
When
money's
money's
on
on
it,
the line, you're gonna dig for
we should
truth.
always just look at that for presidential
Absolutely.
elections and pretty
Dude,
much everything else.
here it is. Here's pretty much the bottom line. Jake Paul is a minus 270 favorite.
What does that
Tyson
mean?
is a plus 210 underdog. I have this in my
I saw that
somewhere here.
yesterday. I didn't know what it meant.
I asked it what it means
Ah.
somewhere. I forget. Oh, wait a minute. Odds are often okay. Betting odds. Here's a breakdown. Odds represent in the U.S. Odds are given as money line odds, like minus 200 or plus 150 or plus 150. The minus sign indicates the favorite, while the plus sign
Oh.
indicates the underdog. What that means: if Tyson has odds of minus 200 to win against Paul, it's actually the opposite.
Yeah.
It means he's the favorite. He's not. And you would need to bet 200. This is the important part. Minus 200 means you bet $200 to make $100 if
Oh,
Tyson wins.
gotcha.
If you're betting, if the odds are plus 150, and that means he's the underdog at plus 150, then you bet 100, then a $100 bet on him would pull you in $150.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
So in other
Okay.
words,
So what is it?
Tyson-
Let's look at what he is again.
Tyson is a major
270.
underdog.
Yeah,
Major.
I see that. Yeah.
So no one's betting on Tyson, basically.
Well, it's sort of like being at the horse track. You want to bet on the underdog that you think is going to win.
Right.
Yeah, interesting. Well, the guy's 27. He's moving up. Tyson
Yeah.
is down. I mean, logically, you're right. If I could get out of my own 58-year-old head here,
Yeah.
I could probably and like let's try to be 25-year-old Merle. What, you're gonna fight he's nearly 60. He's nearly 60 years old. And when I was 27, I thought 60 was like you're ready for retirement. Okay.
For sure.
You should be fishing with like a hat with fishing lures in it, you know.
Right.
Need a hearing aid. Can you hear me, old man? I mean, can you imagine like the mocking that you would feel as a 25-year-old, 27-year-old? I mean, come on.
Absolutely, for sure.
Oh, here's
All
another
right.
thing. I remember being in sports in high school, especially in track. We'd be running around the track. You know, I could do like under a 5-minute mile, and then there'd be these old guys out there, old, like 35, and they're just like running around the track looking feeble and everything. And it's like, oh, come on, old man, what are you doing out here? And now I'm like, I respect that guy up there, that fine young man that's 58. But yeah, I mean, isn't it the same in boxing? I mean, the guy's 58.
More so.
And here's
sure.
one last thing is, you talk about wrestling and could you wrestle, but one thing is in this sport, they punch you in the face. And, like, there's something that happens to your brain when you get punched in the face. Like it's like you can't think the same way once you get rocked in the face. It's like things don't happen as fast in your head. And so, and I can't imagine. I've been punched in the face pretty hard. I've been knocked out before in a fight. I cannot imagine getting punched in the face today. I just can't imagine.
I would not want to do that to my brain at 58 years old.
No.
I don't want to. I really am not a fan of seeing Tyson do this, but I tend to think that he's not going in like 29-year-old Mike Tyson with the belt on the line.
No, it was fun to see all those times where he came out, young Mike Tyson. I mean, he was built like a British bulldog, right? I mean, he just comes out there with that huge upper body, as he said, the back when he would lift people up with that hook coming out of the left. I mean, he was so strong. I've never seen anything like it before, but he's not that same guy today. He's a different guy, but he looks like a guy you wouldn't want to mess with.
Oh, he's always been that guy.
I mean, even as a 58-year-old, it still has that look like there might be some crazy behind that face.
Right. So as a segue, I got to tell you, I just want to warn you, I got two really good articles, short articles to end with that are light and really fun.
Oh, cool.
But in the meantime, I know we're going to want to get to and talk about Trump's appointments. There's some real exciting stuff there. I got something of a segue here. I originally pulled it up on my laptop last night, and I did not pull up the particular link, but here it is. It's just about Boeing dismantling their DEI.
Oh, I love this kind of. There's all kinds of news like this. I have a story to share after this too.
Oh, good. The particular article I read, it was like whatever that magazine was, I want to bookmark it because it was really good. It was good writing, and there was a good quote in there. I just pulled up the Google search. I was trying to find it. I could not. But you see, it's all over the news, this article. So the one article was about Boeing's head of whatever, maybe it was a CEO, whatever, but he said, look, talking about the failure of DEI. Now, what I like about this so much, Merle, is that you and I, all this year, since the beginning of 2024, we were talking about the awakening from woke.
Yes, we did.
Yep.
Yes.
DEI is being found out.
Yes, it is.
And here it is. And so this guy was quoted, and we've seen the disasters it's created left and right in Boeing, obviously. He said, he was quoted as, you know what? When you're a giant company with a huge profit margin, DEI is a luxury that looks good and feels good. But we're not that any longer. We can't afford DEI. That's a statement. I'm not quoting it verbatim because I'm not.
I like that. No,
Yeah.
Barry, it's funny because you played a clip of Josh Hawley just drilling this guy.
Oh,
it was
right.
the CEO of
Yes.
Boeing, and he was asking him, how much do you get paid?
400 million or something.
It wasn't 400, but it was 35 million.
Oh,
it might as well be 400 million.
right.
But Hawley went into like, oh, they paid you for that? And let's see. He went through this litany of damages done to Boeing, and it was like, it looks like they're paying you to bring this company down. And DEI is a weapon against these companies that all of these CEOs are promoting because they're owned by BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. And we know that BlackRock, Larry Fink, is the purveyor of DEI, and he declared DEI a year ago that DEI was dead. We know this, Barry, that DEI is in the center of Marxism. It is a tactic. So, and it is an essential tactic of Marxism. So while they're saying this, I believe we're going to see it manifest in other ways. But I am happy to see this being exposed the way that it is.
Exposed. I have a question for you because just your opinion, because I haven't seen this addressed anywhere. So it went on in the article to talk about how companies everywhere are turning away from DEI because they just find it to be so damaging. Of course. Who would think that equity would be a bad move in a capitalist society? But here's what nobody has addressed is the power, these hedge fund companies had been forcing these kind of companies to push DEI by giving them ESG scores.
That's right.
So these companies are like, oh, screw you guys. This ain't working. It's killing our company. What's happening with the hedge fund companies and the ESG scores? Like, what's the ramifications for going against the hedge fund companies? Big Daddy.
Well, the ramifications are all that you this is where you get your funding from for the company. They can tighten those screws and make it so it's harder for you to get those loans and or those investments, and that is really the lifeblood of these companies. So they've got some very major pressure they can put on these people, and they will threaten. The way that they work is, and they did this during COVID, they'll threaten to eliminate the board of directors and the CEO, and they have the power to make that happen.
In the past, yes.
So
I'm just wondering how this is going to go for these companies.
So that's why I'm saying is that if the company CEOs are saying that, I take it that it's because the the BlackRocks of the world are telling them this is what you say right now. They're in those CEOs are under complete control of these guys. So I look at the CEO of Boeing as a person that works for BlackRock. So if he's saying this right now, it's because BlackRock is telling him to say that. And this is, to me, this is a trick. They're not wanting to get off of the power that they hold over these companies. They're just retooling these things, and it's part of the facade. It goes along with the exact same thing that's happened in our media, where the media has been purveyors of this. Our world is racist and narcissistic and misogynistic, and we found out through the election that that didn't work. And so I imagine that's why they're trumpeting this thing about DEI. The election had serious ramifications, and there's some really good examples that are happening in the press as well. I don't want to change subjects, but I do want to go to that when you're ready.
No, we're good with that. I would just say the one thing I would kind of modify a bit. You said the CEOs are beholden to BlackRock and, the big daddy hedge funds. There's one big in between, and that's the board of directors of the company. The CEO is beholden to the board of directors. I don't know. I don't understand what that relationship would look like from the board of directors to the hedge fund companies.
Understood. Well, when the board of directors can be eliminated by the hedge fund, then they're under the control of the hedge fund. And so that's really how I'm seeing it, is that the board of directors and the CEO are the marionette dolls that the hedge funds actually manipulate.
All right. Well, is it going to be interesting to see where it goes? Oh, God, did they ever get those astronauts off the space station that were stranded because of Boeing?
You would think we would know if they came back. I think they're still
I could search, but let's just continue.
Well, the good news is this, Barry, is that we're seeing a lot of shifts that are happening in the media. And last week, I have this in my notes, but I don't know if I said it or not, but I was predicting that we would see some massive changes in the media, because the media is completely owned by the globalists, and they failed. They failed their mission, which was to put Kamala in as president and eliminate the threat, which is...
It was mission impossible, though.
But they sure did pony up. I mean, of course, we know they ponied up over $1 billion. They paid people like Oprah $1 million to come out and endorse Kamala. It's pretty crazy.
She says latest is they did not pay me. They paid my company, Harpo, to put on a production. And so Harpo, in turn, paid the employees to do the production. And that's all fine. But it's a little like the Clintons saying they didn't pay us, they paid the Clinton Foundation. And somehow we become multi-millionaires.
I mean, somehow we become that is the funny part. But here's one. I'll just read this. This is kind of interesting. Remember, the Los Angeles Times did not endorse Kamala, along with several other pretty large papers. WAPO didn't do it as well. And we had the editorial board over at the Los Angeles Times. The leader actually resigned over this whole thing. But this is great. Dr. Patrick Soon Shung, I think he's Chinese. He's the owner of the Los Angeles Times, announced that a new editorial board where, quote, all voices are heard, unquote, will be formed. The LA Times editorial board will not endorse a presidential candidate, did not endorse a presidential candidate in 2024 election for the first time since 2008, which didn't sit well with some of the staffers. So as a result, what's happening is he's going to replace all of those people with people that he said would be able to be in touch with the general public. Here's some additional. LA Times owner says after election results, the entire LA Times editorial board will be replaced, signaling that they were out of touch with voters. Some of their recent opinion pieces include: one, we should publicly mock the deaths of the unvaccinated during COVID. Can you believe that? Number two,
Yeah, I do believe it.
Larry Elder is the black face of white supremacy.
I
We were
remember.
all over that.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Number three, reportedly endorsing soft on crime DA George Gascon, who went down in the election, by the way. He was blown out by over 20 points in his re-election bid. He made that whole place unsafe. So that's one, Barry, but I've got even better news because our favorite show, The View, is getting some attention right now, and not the kind of attention I think that they're looking for. Let's see if
They don't get good attention.
No. Let's see. Celebrity. Oh, this is.
Oh, we talking about Whoopi?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, more. Let's see. ABC and other networks look to add more pro-Trump voices. The TV networks are in a scramble mode as they try to find voices and personalities that match the country's pro-Trump mode. Discussions about bringing a pro-Trump voice onto ABC's daytime moneymaker, The View, are underway, and changes to other programming are being considered. ABC executives were apparently so insulated in their own ideological cocoon that the extent of Trump's victory caught them completely by surprise.
They don't remember 4 years ago. Or
I know. Similar discussions are underway at other networks as well. The discussions reveal just how deeply the networks were in denial and how terrified they are now that they must face viewers who are angered by the network's anti-Trump slant. The radical left hosts of The View are going to be a problem. They not only supported Kamala Harris for president, but having disparaged half their audience since Trump won by lambasting women who voted for Trump as ignorant, but that, as it may, ABC is desperately trying to change the dynamic of the show to be more Trump friendly. How? I don't think they could do that.
No, they can't. Geez. But you know what? They would follow those orders in a heartbeat, because they did. I mean, leading up to the election, I saw lots of clips where they were showing Trump going on The View like 2 years prior to announcing his campaign, running for president. So I don't know, let's say it was 2010, and they're hugging him and loving him. And then it was like a year or two later, he announces he's running, and the word was given that he's the mortal enemy. No, you know what it was. It was, no, let's see. How was it? I think they didn't take him seriously until he won the primary and shocked everybody.
They actually had him on the show after he announced he was running, and they were fawning all over him because they didn't think that he was going to win. Right. And then when it became serious, I mean,
worse.
Whoopi refuses to actually say Trump's name on the air. She won't even say his name now, which is so lame. These celebrities who think they're all that suddenly got punched in the face. It was like Mike Tyson quote, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah, right. Back to Tyson, that's good.
Yeah, these celebrities got punched in the face. Now the plan, what is the plan? Here's one. Celebrities begin abandoning X platform. This is rich.
I saw that today or yesterday. Yeah.
With the election of Trump back in the White House, Hollywood celebrities are making good on their promises to boycott his second presidency by first saying goodbye to X. Hollywood
They're
actors.
They're going to lose their own voice. That's awesome. Censor yourself.
So great. Hollywood actress
awesome.
Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, who cares?
Who cares?
Jamie Lee Curtis thinks?
Nobody cares.
Announced her exit from the social media platform on Wednesday, asking God to grant her the serenity to accept things that she cannot change, courage to change things that she can. God. Although Curtis did not give an exact reason for quitting the social media platform, her decision comes amid Trump's announcement that ex-CEO Elon Musk and GOP Ohio businessman Vivek Ramaswamy would partner to head the Department of Government Efficiency.
That is the best.
That thing is called Doge.
Yep.
A plan to streamline bureaucracy. Here's another one. Former CNN host Don Lemon also deleted his X account. Yay!
As X celebrates in mass delight.
He said this. I once believed it was a place for honest debate and discussion,
Oh my
transparency, and
God.
free speech, but I now feel it does not serve that purpose.
Like
I
any
mean,
of that
come
made any
on.
sense. Yeah.
That's so crazy, isn't it?
All he's got is calling people racist. That's
I
all
know,
he's
I know.
got.
And now it doesn't work. So, Morning Joe, I can't wait to see Morning Joe and Mika go down because, and also Joy Reid.
Oh
These
yeah.
people are saying the most horrible stuff, un-American stuff, dividing
Yeah.
people,
Oh yeah.
calling people bringing Latinos they hate black women, and I mean what that's
They're
news. That's
tripling
news.
down on their identity
Well,
politics.
that's all they
Unbelievable.
know. So
It's
they can't
racism.
actually do anything else. They're not actually journalists, so they don't
Sure.
know how to do that. This is the only thing they know how to do. And that's why I'm
Yeah.
saying there's going to be a mass firing and there's going to be a turnover. And now, but it doesn't mean that this is going away. It just means that they're coming up with a new strategy to
Well,
win.
they have to. But as you say that, as I recall, just a few days ago, CNN announced mass layoffs and did not give raises to their biggest head honchos that were expecting raises, if I recall that right. I know I
And
got that right.
how could they
Yeah.
not be in that
Oh,
position
they're
too, Barry?
sinking. They've been a sinking ship for a while now.
They
Yeah.
really have. And here I want to here's a an interesting thing that's going on right now. I'm going to share this here.
Oh, and let me tell you this one. I heard on a podcast the other day. I know this is, it was Crystal and Sagar. They were talking about the demographics for mainstream media. And they were I mean, CNN, MSNBC, and Fox. Dude, the median age, hold on to that for a second. The
Yep, yep.
average age of their viewership average is 70 years old of
70.
mainstream media. Now, it was like, to be more exact, it was like they read it. It was like CNN was like 72, MSNBC was 71, Fox was 68. In my mind, I was like, well, let's just average that out as 70 for all of mainstream media. So the lifespan on
Yeah, yeah.
that whole thing is short. They're all, it's a sinking ship.
No,
It's a
you're right.
Titanic.
Yeah, it is. It's a sinking ship. And like we said last week, the election results, especially the popular vote, just proves that
Oh, yeah.
people have gotten out of the shackles of mainstream media and
Yes,
they're going to
absolutely.
podcasts and they're listening to podcasts like this. I heard Patrick Bet David
Yep.
talking about the fact that the new medium is guys like you and I having a
Mm.
conversation about current events, not all this canned stuff.
Yeah,
People want to hear from real people. And you can't get more real than somebody like Patrick Bet David or
sure.
Barry Edwards. So
Well, and digging down into the details of it rather than just spouting off the surface headline that you get via email that you're told to say your talking points. It's
pe-
awful.
people are tired of having the wool pulled over their eyes. They're tired of. There's a scene on Star Wars where Ben Kenobi looks at these stormtroopers and he says, "These aren't the droids you're looking for." And
Mhm.
that's what the mainstream media has been doing. They've been trying to
Yes.
do this kind of black magic brainwashing thing that
Well,
you don't believe your lying eyes kind of thing.
well, we're going to get into this in a few minutes, I'm sure, but they also shape views. So when we start talking about some of these Trump appointments, I'm going to bring up how people like Tulsi Gabbard, Matt Gaetz, and J.D. Vance, all of which had these viewpoints thrown upon them of weird and there's something off about them and all. But
Right.
you ask these people, well, what do you mean? What is it? Be specific. I don't
They
know. It's
can't.
just,
Yeah.
and it's planted by mainstream media. Then it takes time to debunk.
You know, Barry, as we're talking about this change that we're going through here in America as we shift over to Trump, and he's very busy right now, it is really interesting. We saw Joe Biden have Trump over to the White House on what was it, Wednesday, and he was all smiles. But
Mhm.
just a couple of days ago, he was
Calling them a
calling him
Nazi.
an existential threat to the United States,
Right.
that he's a Nazi, that he's a fascist, and so the tune now, especially as you take a look at the popular vote, that they're saying some very interesting things. I'm going to play Chuck Schumer, who's going to be replaced
I
here
can't
very soon
stand this guy.
by Thune, and but listen
Thank
to what he
God.
has to say.
This guy's
Now
evil.
let me turn to my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. Another closely contested election now comes to an end. To my Republican colleagues, I offer a word of caution in good faith. Take care not to misread the will of the people, and do not abandon the need for bipartisanship. After winning an election, the temptation may be to go to the extreme. We've seen that happen over the decades, and it's consistently backfired on the party in power. So instead of going to the extremes, I remind my colleagues that this body is most effective when it's bipartisan. If we want in the next 4 years the Senate to be as productive as the last 4, the only way that will happen is through bipartisan cooperation.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there because
As productive as the last 4 years.
yeah, okay, so really it was productive the last 4. You guys are ranked so low in the approval rating, and it's because you guys don't you're the
Historically.
do nothing. You do nothing, okay? And this whole he says that any administration that doesn't work in a bipartisan fashion, it's doomed to fail. Well, this is the same guy that stood outside of the Supreme Court and said, "You've inherited the whirlwind, Kavanaugh." He's also the same guy that said, I wouldn't. Trump's going up against the intelligence people, and they've got every which way from Sunday to hurt you. This guy is anything but bipartisan. He's
Right.
he's an unfeeling person when it comes to other people's opinion that go against his opinion. And here he is now saying, "Oh, Republicans, you got to play nice, because if you don't play nice, that's not going to work out for you."
Yeah.
And
The
they're all
hypocrisy.
smiley about, "Oh yeah, we'll help you with the change and everything like that." Oh, you're being pretty nice all of a sudden here. But these droids, these aren't the droids you're looking for, kind of thing. Like their administration was nice and bipartisan. When I think about the January 6th Commission,
No one's falling for
they
this.
called that bipartisan because they had Liz Cheney over there.
Right
now,
That's
now,
a good point.
Liz Cheney is bipartisan. She was the one that was totally in the bag with Kamala.
Yeah.
And it's because they're part of the military-industrial complex.
Yes,
We all
that's
know.
exactly
This is
right.
so crazy. So crazy.
Yeah, that's why Trump won the popular vote. I mean, every swing state, it's everyone is like, whoa, what the media tried to do, the propaganda arm of the left, is tried to tell us that, first of all, Joe's never been sharper. A week later, okay,
right.
the cat's out of the bag. He's out. No, Kamala's in. She's the best. And
She's
the whole,
the best.
I mean, it was a total exposure, the whole
Really
process
was.
through.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were playing something else. You look
No,
like
no. That was it.
Okay.
I just, as
you
we
want to-
go into this, so now we've got all these appointments that are happening, and there's some very interesting and provocative appointments that we have all of a sudden here, and so let's talk. What's your favorite pick or most alarming pick?
Well, favorite, geez, kind of tossed with the Elon Musk that's probably my favorite Ramaswamy pick for the efficiency of the government. That is the most important thing, and it's so overdue. I mean,
Whoops,
oh my
sorry
God.
about that.
So this is the guy that deleted about 78% of the employees at Twitter and had the entire left like up in arms over how he was destroying free speech and he was doing everything wrong. And like in 2 weeks, he had it running like a top. That's pretty freaking amazing, if you ask me. Government is way, way, way overdue for that. Now, the other, how strongly I feel about Tulsi Gabbard. She's been named off the top of my head Director of National or International Intelligence?
National intelligence. She's Director of National Intelligence. Yep.
Dude, she's just so strong. She's so patriotic. The military background, but she's unshakable in her scruples that she's going to have so much opposition, so much heat on her from the deep state there. But I think she's one person that can handle that. So I'm very excited about that one. Now, that head scratcher, in a few ways is, again, I'm not looking at anything here, but Mike Gaetz as Attorney General.
Yes.
Matt Gaetz. Did I say Mark?
Yeah.
Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. Okay, Matt Gaetz is one that's been smeared in the press an awful lot, and I don't know myself where truth ends and propaganda begins. I'm not sure.
Right. Yeah.
But I have a suspicion, and this is just me talking. There's a lot of stuff that Trump and his advisors are privy to that I am not. And I wonder if it's like, Matt, you know what lawfare looks like. That's for damn sure. How would you like to go attack these people? And we just stop all of this unconstitutional, treasonous acts. That could be.
It could be. And although Trump has said that he wants to stop all the lawfare, so he doesn't want Matt Gaetz to involve himself in lawfare. But I think the big deal here is all of this stuff surrounding Matt Gaetz right now around this accusation from this woman who says that he had sexual relationships with her when she was only 17 years old. Of course, this has been years now, and the woman is in her 20s, but they were going to have this, these allegations were going to be investigated by a committee, and Matt Gaetz resigned from his position as a congressman, and therefore the committee had no more authority to investigate this. So, the thing is that all of these sexual allegations came up shortly after his performance in the impeachment trials against Trump. And of course, he was a hero there. So we've seen this lawfare coming at these people. And this is if this is not real in any way, because I don't know Matt Gaetz, but if it's not real, what a dirty trick this is.
But it wouldn't
to
surprise
somebody like this. But no, it wouldn't surprise me either.
Right.
Remember, we saw that video where it was like, is this the NFL or the NBA? And they talked about all the criminals that were a part of it. And it was like, oh my God, that's got to be the NBA. No, that's got to be the NFL. And it turned out it was Congress.
Right. Yeah.
As a criminals, man.
Yeah. I forgot one, and because you were like, which was most shocking appointment and all of that. And Rubio, what is Rubio?
Marco Rubio is
Department
Secretary
of
of State. He's Secretary of
State. That's right.
I was surprised by this one.
Yeah, I heard Dave Smith talk about this, who is way more astute on these matters than I am. And I line up with most of what he says. And he was like, look, he goes, I'm going to give myself a little credit. Last week I was on Rogan. I advised, Nikki Haley was dodging a bullet there, War Machine Haley. But he goes, I said the same thing about Matt Pompeo. Totally right there in the same ilk. And he goes, I put it out there and it seemed we dodged that bullet. And he said this on his podcast like yesterday, the day before. But he goes, now we got Marco Rubio. Same thing. That's what he said.
Yeah, I like, again.
You know what it sounds like to me? One of those deals that you have to make with the devil to get in, to
maybe
it just helps seal your deal on getting elected.
You know what? You might be right.
Yeah.
Somebody else came up with a theory that he's actually going to fire him and replace him with somebody else, and he was just trying to get him out of the way.
That's interesting.
That sounds ridiculous. They're also talking about the fact that a lot of these choices might not get through the Senate. And they're talking about recess appointments so that the president actually has the constitutional authority to put people into cabinet positions when the Congress goes on recess, and there's nothing that they could do about it. So that's a talk too. But the fact of the matter is that the confirmations are all about just simple majority, and with the Senate being really over majority of Republicans, it shouldn't be a problem. Tulsi Gabbard actually is one that they said might be a problem, and the other one is RFK Jr.
Oh,
Of
yeah, I
course,
forgot.
the
Geez, that's
Democrats hate both.
yeah, of course they do. They're traitors to them and heroes to us. And God, Merle, out of all the excitement, I have to say I am as excited about RFK. Uh, what's his title? Department of Health
RFK
Director?
is HHS, Health and Human Services.
Uh-huh.
People did
Uh-huh.
not, I think that's one of my favorites. People
Oh
did
yeah.
not think that Trump was going to put him in as HHS, that they had another position that he was going to go to. And I think because of all the negative things that they were saying, especially since Trump's been elected, of the Democrats, the things they have said about Kennedy being a vaccine denier or whatever they call you when they want to lambaste you with that title, or
Anti-vaxxer.
that he's just a big conspiracy theorist and he's going to ruin it. I think that might have forced Trump into making him the HHS guy.
That's great.
It is, and so he's going to be in charge. And let's see here. Well, this is a great statement right here that Kennedy makes. I think I have it right here. Oh no, I don't. But he's saying that one of the first things they're going to do is they're going to go right after the. Oh, here it is, right here. He says. Oh, this is beautiful. RFK Jr. revealed that President Trump's DOJ will launch RICO investigations and prosecute the collusion between medical boards, medical journals, and big pharma. Boom.
Wow, yeah.
That's what happened during COVID. It was these pharmaceutical companies they collaborated with the medical journals so that whatever they said was the truth. The medical journals corresponded with an article that was written by insiders to sell these drugs that had not been tested, and the medical boards were a part of this as well. And that is RICO. That is exactly this. RICO is usually you see mobsters getting RICO charges, and it's where they have created a monopolistic unfair advantage, and that people don't have any choices but to buy from that overinflated place. And that's what they tried to get Trump on, RICO charges down in Georgia. This is coming back. The chickens are coming home to roost on this.
Gotcha.
I got something else here,
Go
which
ahead.
is back to Vivek and
Mm.
Elon Musk. There's an article here called
There's-
what is the cost of red tape? And it says all eyes in Washington, D.C. are turning to President-elect Donald Trump's promise to cut Obama and Biden era federal regulations now that the choking price tag for the current administration's red tape has been partially tabulated. Get this, Barry. According to American Action Forum, the cost of President Joe Biden's significant regulations pushed on America by several agencies is $1.8 trillion. A shocking amount when
A year?
compared. I think it's total, but get this, you got to make the comparison. It's a shocking amount when compared to the 1.2 billion Trump's regulation costs. 1.8 trillion compared to
See,
1.2 billion.
I know it's intentional. We can't wrap our heads around a trillion.
We really can't.
Can't wrap your head around a billion, let alone a trillion.
A trillion is 1,000 billion.
Uh-huh.
Right. Okay. So Trump spent 1.2 billion. He spent 2,000 times that, Barry. 2,000 times
They're
that.
trying to bankrupt the country.
That's what it seems like. Even former President Barack Obama kept his regulatory burden to under 500 billion. Biden, 1.8 trillion.
Yeah.
It's quite a number, said the director of regulatory policy at American Action Forum. And he added, Team Biden still plans to jam through more rules before turning the keys of the government over to Trump. In fact, he's on pace for having the record amount of regulations in the Federal Register. Barack Obama currently has the record on that. So we're going to see these guys come in, Vivek and Musk, and they're going to be looking at all these things. I was hearing people
They're going
talking
to make
about,
a lot of enemies, man.
we are spending money on the most frivolous things. There's a study where we wanted to find out if it would increase safety in Ghana if they wore bicycle helmets and wore seat belts. We spent like $2 million on a study like that. And then the guy was saying, I could have told you for free. Yes, it will increase the safety.
You could have just dusted off our own studies. And you know what? I want to back up a little bit here because I want to talk about the mainstream media's role in this and what to expect in the very near future. So we're seeing the alarm bells go off left and right on these appointments because you and I are just elated. Like, Merle, have you ever in your life been excited about a president's appointments before? Never talk about it.
No.
Don't even think of it. All right. So Lisa asked me last night about these because she's like, I don't know about Gates and this. I think these appointments might be crap. She watches mainstream media and all this. And I'm like, you're getting that off. And I said, well, what did you think about Biden's appointments? And it's like, nobody can rattle off who Biden appointed. Well, let's just
Janet
go over
Yellen.
that. Dude, it gets better than that. Let's go over that a little bit. This is a terrific article by Matt Walsh in the Daily Wire I read yesterday. I'm just going to fly through some highlights here, talking about Biden's administration at the end 2020. Personnel decisions were treated as non-stories. We got Pete Buttigieg, for example, became the transportation secretary because he likes trains, vaguely interested in airplanes, and he's gay. And those were his qualifications. Now, remember, he spent a great chunk of that time on maternity leave with his husband.
Yes.
And so they put him in charge of the Department of Transportation, which has tens of billions of dollars overseeing the nation's railways and airports. And why not? Because who would expect a train carrying toxic chemicals that might derail somewhere in Ohio? And a lot of other stuff, but that's a good one. How about the nomination of Lloyd Austin to the lead defense, as the lead in the Defense Department? That was really inspiring. Lloyd Austin was serving on the board of Raytheon when he was the biggest, one of the biggest defense contractors in the world. Raytheon's paying him a lot of money. Without fanfare, Biden-Harris administration appointed Lloyd Austin to run the Pentagon. What could go wrong?
That? No, did
the head of
the
Raytheon.
Military-industrial complex right there in your cabinet.
Surely we wouldn't see him all of a sudden sending billions of dollars worth of weaponry to a tiny corrupt country in Eastern Europe called Ukraine. Now, would we?
Because doesn't it make sense? This is funny because I did not know that. It shouldn't that have been like something in the mainstream media every night? Oh, yeah. Remember, this guy's from Raytheon.
Right. And then how about when someone named Rachel Levine, a biological male named Richard, who decided at middle age to start wearing a dress and rebrand himself as Rachel.
And very, very cute.
Yeah, certainly there's no mental illness going on there. No signs whatsoever. And as everybody would love to take that opportunity to say you're a transphobe, how about back when it was like 0.001% of people were actually trans? And we could all say, yeah, I could imagine that those people feel they were born in the wrong body and, have compassion for them. Sure. But when all of a sudden it comes to God knows what, 5% or something.
Yeah.
Now you're stoking the flames of mental illness. So
that's right.
All right. So it made perfect sense. We were told that a man deeply confused about the basic realities of human biology oversee the nation's healthcare system.
I mean, imagine this guy's being replaced by RFK Jr.
I
This is like
know.
and the Democrats are mad about their heads are blowing up over this.
All of these. So when they start dissing the appointments that have just been made, let's revisit this article. I love Matt Walsh, by the way.
I do too. Have you seen
Yeah.
his new movie yet?
No, not yet, but
I
I'm
want to
going
see
to.
that.
I'm
Am
going
I
to.
racist?
It's here on the Daily Wire, and I was thinking
Yeah.
about going ahead and buying the premium. Okay, so sure,
You got
hospitals.
Fauci up there.
Oh, sure. He might. Okay, back to Rachel Levine at the head of the health department. Sure, he might pressure hospitals to castrate and sterilize as many children as possible. That cannot be talked about enough. He might pose for some uncomfortable photographs with Sam Brighton, the cross-dressing nuclear waste expert and kleptomaniac who was terrorizing airport baggage. You know that I know of people that are avid CNN watchers do not know who this little fella is.
Really?
Right here.
Is
Oh,
that
yeah.
right? I love that you brought up their pictures too. This is,
Yeah. Well, this is. I don't remember if this is the dress that he got arrested wearing.
I don't. It could have been.
That's how he got busted.
Yeah,
he
right.
posted.
He stole that woman's
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
From the airport. He stole her bag.
The head of Department of Nuclear Energy is in the hands of this.
Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah. So I'm just going to end with that. And the point being, mainstream media is not on our side. It is not on the side of common sense.
Well, and the people know this, Barry, and that's why these mainstream media outlets are going to make some major changes to make us think that now they're on our side. They're all about the voice of the people when they've already exposed themselves.
Who owns them?
Yeah, right. That's what we have to look at is who owns them and what is their agenda. And then we find out who it is. Yes. One
of the first things that the Department of Health or whoever in charge, Trump for that matter, has to do is make it illegal to you have to stop advertising pharmaceuticals on TV, especially on our news channels.
I think you're right about that. It's
little
really
conflict of interest there.
When we were young, the pharmaceutical commercials were illegal. They were not legal to put those on, and neither were law commercials. You couldn't put those on, and those things became legal at the same time. Think about that. Lawyers and pharmaceutical companies got to come on TV at the same time. Something big happened right there, and think how the two work hand in hand, and they just blew up. It's just insane when you think about that whole thing.
Absolutely.
The FDA is in the crosshairs, Barry, with the whole appointment of RFK Jr. And
they should be.
I have this whole thing.
They got to be stripped down to the bones.
Oh, absolutely. And we already heard Vivek's plan for making that happen very quickly. I'm sure there are people in the in our largest employers' ranks that are shaking in their boots right now because these guys are in there, and they should be. The thing I'm concerned about is the public's the private sector, where now all these people are going to be flooding the job market because they're not going to have any jobs. That's something to think about. There was one other thing I was going to say about all of this, but I forgot what it was.
Well, if it comes back to you, that's fine. I got a couple things for the end of this, but literally, if that comes back to you, just chime back in.
We're gonna have to wrap up pretty soon. We're already coming up towards the end of our time.
That's why one of these I thought would be very inspiring for over 50.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say is I got this article on 15 foods that have been banned in other countries that are perfectly legal here. We'll go over that next time, but this is the kind of thing that RFK Jr. is going to be looking at.
You could come up with thousands more than that.
Oh, I know. These were
I mean literally
15 things that are in your refrigerator right now.
For sure. Somebody, I think it was on Rogan, they had a scientist on there about 2 weeks ago, said that Europe has 400 of these chemicals that are deemed harmful but are legal in their food processing. We have 4,000. 4,000 that are deemed harmful. at our legal line.
It's amazing, amazing. So we'll go. Those are things we should talk about on 050 because I think
Yes.
it's very important to our audience.
For sure. And that's what's so important about RFK getting his hands on the FDA. I love that. That is so, so important. How
Hey,
about, yeah, go ahead.
before we go, I know we're starting to wrap up and everything, but you had something funny. But before we do that, I do want to do a shout out tribute to a friend of mine, Ivy Weiss, who passed away this week. She lost her battle to lung cancer. Very sad. This is somebody that, and at my lowest point, when I lost a job and had wrapped up my whole identity around my job, and was a hard way to learn, but that I had come to a very low point in my life, and I prayed to God for help. And before I knew it, this person was in my life. I became a part of this organization called Greater Los Angeles Professionals,
I remember that.
where we helped people find jobs,
Yeah.
and they nominated me the president of the organization. But that wouldn't have happened without a person by the name of Ivy Weiss. When I walked in the room, she immediately nominated me the president of the organization. Coincidentally, the previous one was stepping down at the moment I walked into the room, and she said that she saw some kind of light on me and knew that I was the one to lead this group of about 50 people. And for about 6 months, I was with that group. It changed my life. And I ended up having a conversation with her a couple of days ago. I had no idea. I hadn't talked to her for a few years. Had no idea she had lung cancer. But we talked. We loved all over each other. I said all of the things that I would have said to her had I thought this was the last conversation we'll ever have, without knowing that she would die only a few days later. She didn't know that either. And so I just want to say this: praise God for Ivy. I'm glad she was out there. She was a shining light in this world. She made the world better. And I just want to say to all of you that if you get this unction in your heart, like, hey, I haven't talked to somebody in a long time, call them up now. Just call them up, tell them you love them, because you just never know. Just tell people you love them. That's what you should do, and you won't be sorry.
No, that's true. And it's funny how when we get that little pang, it's usually there's this interconnection that we have. There's a reason
We really do.
get that.
Yeah.
So act
You and
on it.
I, Barry, we've been in sync like that
Mhm,
for a
mhm,
long time. It's almost like I can feel you. You know
mhm.
what I mean? And
Sure.
when you have my dad said this. He asked me in high school. I was popular in high school. He said, "How many friends you got?" And I said, "I don't know, like 100." And he told me, "No, you don't. Those are acquaintances." And he says, "You could probably count your real friends on one hand." And he said, "If you ever get in trouble, you'll see those 100 people run for the doors." And he
Yeah.
sure was right about that. But
Yeah,
Barry,
yeah.
you're one of those one-hand people,
Oh yeah.
man.
Oh
Like
yeah.
tried and true, thick and thin. I love you, man.
Love you too, buddy. So keep your favorite people close to you.
Amen.
I recently had an experience where I did not get the opportunity to say goodbye to one of the most important people in my life. And the
I remember
regrets
you
on
telling
that.
me about that. Yeah.
The regrets. Jeez. Okay, let's lighten this up. There we go. There's a nice segue. All right, this is really good stuff, though. Very inspirational. This guy, I feel younger. His quote: 88-year-old completes his 12th Athens marathon. So this is in
Holy
Athens, Greece.
moly.
88 years old. Look at the picture of this guy with
He
his
looks
medal.
great. Look
He
at him.
does. He says that he feels younger today than he did before. This guy, they call him the authentic. He's steeped in history, tracing his. Wait a minute. He's talking. Oh, the marathon is known as the
Oh, yeah.
authentic. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it goes back to ancient Athenian messenger feeded the bit.
Oh, yeah. He had to run that. That was his messenger path. Yep.
Oh, you know of that, huh?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, how cool. Being a truck guy is probably
Yeah.
from there. Okay, so this guy completed the grueling course in 6 hours and 31 minutes, a personal best, finishing 18 minutes faster than last year.
Wow.
I mean,
running, this 88-year-old was running
6.5
for
hours.
6.5 hours.
6.5 hours.
Is it 26 miles
And
or
he
something crazy like that?
started his marathon journey at 73, inspired by his son, an ultra marathon runner. Since then, he has defied expectations and surprised many who find it hard to believe that the octogenarian, everybody's saying that word all of a sudden, could still be racing. And he goes, why wouldn't you believe it? He asked with a smile. We all can do it as long as we want to.
Yeah.
We were kind of talking about this stuff earlier in the podcast as Tyson's getting ready to do this at 58. And he said he just wants to prove to people he could still box.
I was thinking I'd like to see Tyson and this guy go at it.
So he runs about they say, how do you do it? He runs about 3 miles a day, avoids smoking, heavy drinking, and late nights. It's funny. He's quoted as saying, I've never smoked. I don't indulge in excesses. I don't drink. I don't stay up late. I eat in a balanced way, everything but in moderation. However, I do have a little Sapporo. It's a local drink every day, not as a drink, but as a medicine. So
he drinks for medicinal purposes.
Yeah. I totally get that. I mean, whatever he's doing is awesome and works great. I just thought for our audience that's very inspiring to see.
It really is. It really is. Wow.
Now I got one final thing I want to show you that flips me out. All right. Okay.
What?
Yes,
what?
This magician's mind. You tell me what's going on here.
I have no idea, dude.
Mind-bending Halloween costume has left the internet stumped. For those of you that listening and not watching this, you might want to come on YouTube or Spotify to see this video, because this guy looks like he's pulling off his torso and legs and carrying them as they walk.
I cannot understand what I'm looking at.
I said
right
it
here.
wrong. It looks like he's pulling off. I said torso. Looks like he's pulling off his hips and legs. And
yeah, it's like the bottom half of his body.
So we got a few videos on this. Watch this, Merle. Oh, I probably have to hit rewind on this. Here we go.
Okay, so here he is. He's apparently the legs are walking, and his torso is holding them, on,
but side by side. Look at this.
I could see that he's on Hollywood Boulevard too, where
watch this.
All kinds of crazy stuff happens.
All right, I just want you to just speculate, throw something out as to what you think is actually going on.
Here's what I think, but I'm not sure.
Oh,
okay, I have no idea.
I wish I could find the sound on that.
Yeah, that was really loud.
Look at that.
I cannot. I cannot tell you what this. I have no idea how this guy's doing this. I would be totally freaked out if I saw this. And I know exactly where this guy is. It was right down the road from where I used to live, and they'd have all kinds of crazy things going on, but I never seen anything like this before.
Here's the only thing I got is that he is, I want to say paraplegic. I don't think that's the right words, but he's born without legs.
Maybe.
And these are robotic legs.
Oh, could I guess that? But this is mind blowing, dude. Kudos to that guy. That guy's a true magician right there. Yeah, that's unique, man. Never seen anything like that before. Wow.
Look at that.
What?
See, it doesn't look like it's still totally connected.
No, it doesn't. It does not look like it.
I think it's what I said. I don't know.
I don't either. I'm trying to like make this work in my head. I can't. I got nothing, man.
Very disturbing. Okay. Wow. With
stuff,
that, let's wrap it up with saying I'm extremely excited about Trump's appointments. I saw him say something yesterday. I saw an article last night late about saying how he wants to start getting this stuff in motion now.
He sure is.
I don't know exactly what that means. What I do know is that he's going to see, and I don't know what form it takes. He's going to see a lot of opposition.
Oh yeah, and I mean it's already coming at him. But these appointments are coming much faster than they came the last time he was in office, and already things are starting to move. We heard about Putin reaching out to him. We heard about the whole thing with Hamas wanting to end this whole thing very quickly.
Right.
It seems like we also know that Trump has also communicated with the president of Mexico. We know that they're going to do the stay in Mexico thing again. So things are happening pretty quickly.
Yeah.
This guy was so energetic on the campaign trail. It looks like he's unlike previous administrations where they just go on vacation for a long
You're
time.
right.
This guy is getting to work immediately and making it happen.
Well, I'm excited about that. I do worry about all the different things that I can't even predict that will happen.
We're just going to have to take it day by day. I do know that Trump has some serious enemies that have not gone away. So I'm praying that the security around him will be able to protect him up and through the inauguration. We do have a January 6th that we have to go through as well. And we played the videotape of Raskin and what he said about the 14th Amendment last time. I think that that's one of the tricks they have up their sleeves, but I believe there's probably a lot more, and we're just going to have to take it day by day.
All right. With that, in several hours, I'll be watching that Tyson fight on Netflix. And I would predict, if you don't have Netflix, I know you don't, Merle, I would predict that you're going to see it the next morning.
I would think so too.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
And so we'll revisit it.
Funny because it could be like a 30-second video of the entire fight.
We're used to God, I don't know what to expect, but I can't wait. And for me, I'm glad that you said it's an undercard. It's not the main event.
It isn't, which is wild.
Because I wouldn't be able to stay up to 11 to watch it. I'm early in bed, early to rise kind of guy. And where did we talked about that somewhere too? Oh, the 88-year-old guy. He was like, don't stay
that's
up.
A big deal.
No late nights.
So the fight comes on at 5 p.m. Eastern time, so don't miss it. And right around the same time, Eastern time, about 4:30 to 5 Eastern time is when that Beaver supermoon comes out. So, and it'll be at the horizon. So you don't want to miss that. It's going to be a big old Beaver moon. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Well, so. I know that if they say it starts at 5, there's going to be all kinds of pageantry, undercards. God only knows what. You never know when the fight actually starts.
No, you never know. You never know, but it is exciting when you see him coming out, like that. Yeah. You almost can tell who's going to win before they get to the actual ring by the look on their faces, and
Did you ever see? It's kind of a classic video of young Mike Tyson. There's this big guy. He's in the ring. They're given the rules and everything. They're standing like,
I love that part of the fight.
And he's just watching this guy. Like his eyes just moving because this guy's like bobbing
back and forth.
Yeah. Tyson looks like I'm going to eat you.
The way he was looking at him was, to me, I was thinking he's studying this guy. He's actually studying how he moves so he could see exactly how he's going to knock his butt out.
I just saw and that's fire.
Exactly what ended up happening.
I just saw fire. The reason that's a classic, that silly little few seconds is a classic, is I don't think we've ever seen such a pure intensity in someone's eyes.
Yeah, those eyes that he had on him, he was kind of looking down and up, and he didn't move. He just, only his eyes were moving. He was looking at
side to side.
It was just like, this is exactly, the anesthesiologist was looking at the buttons right there.
Hey, with that, hey man, have a good weekend.
Tell him how he can find us.
Oh, yes. Over50startingover.com. Sign up there. Get us to your email box as it happens. Drops right in there. We'll be there in about 2 hours from now. But sign up Over 50 Starting Over on YouTube and subscribe and share, please. I think the most important thing is Apple Podcasts. So you listen to us as you're walking around. Please give us stuff. Please give us a 5 Apple review there. Spotify is both audio and video, so it's a favorite platform as well. Thanks, Merle. All right. I love you guys. Have a good weekend.
Hey there, over 50 starting over friends. Mark Tennant here with your AI tip of the week. This week, AI search, and it will change the way you work forever. AI search, it's here. It's already changing the way I work, and it has been for like the last 18 months or so, but only a small number of people are using it compared to Google. That will change eventually, so let's get into it. So Google, here you go, typical Google window. You type in your query, and you hit the search bar, and you come up with these results. And so much clutter on Google pages. First of all, the first few results are ads anyway, and at the top there's more ads and there's more clutter. And you really have to probably, scroll down maybe a couple of pages sometimes to get past the ads and to get down to the information that you're looking for. And maybe even the information that's there is not the right information you're looking for, and you have to click around 4 or 5 times. Well, AI search is here, and I'm here to tell you it will surpass Google search and traditional search engines eventually. Not yet, only because a small number of people are using them. But the good news for you is it's time to start using and understanding AI search. Use it daily, professionally and personally. I'm telling you, it will change the way you work. So what is AI search? So Perplexity.ai, who we will get into, and you'll see how it works in just a little bit. It describes itself as AI-powered search, specializes in providing accurate, cited information from real-time sources. I couldn't have said it any better. It's pretty cool. So for the user, AI search is really the same. It's nothing new to learn. You just type in your query like you do in a traditional AI search engine, and the AI does the rest. Right now, and we'll talk about that, how it does that in just a little bit, but right now there's only 2 players. First of all, there's Perplexity, and this is the free version. You can also get the paid version, but the free version of Perplexity is fantastic. I've been using it for about 18 months, and literally it has changed the way I do research and how I work. And I've also introduced it to dozens of folks at my AI workshops that I've been giving, and online and in person, also to friends, family. Everybody I've told about Perplexity.ai loves it. Real-time, accurate information, and it cites its sources, which is pretty cool. And that's really what we're looking for, is accurate information. And the second player, just introduced within the last couple of weeks as of this recording, is ChatGPT. They now have search built into ChatGPT. You can see the little icon right there in the text box where you type your query in ChatGPT. You can either select that, or you could just start typing, and ChatGPT will know the context of your query or your question, so it'll either go out to the internet and search for you, or use the abilities of its large language model to get the information that you need. Either way, much better than Google search, much, much better. So Mark, what's the big deal? How does it work, and why is it better than Google search? Well, you just don't ask the AI search a question. You have a chat with it. You talk to it. You have that conversation. We talked about it last week in our tip of the week. Have that conversation with the AI, and it'll talk to you just like a real person. It won't get tired of answering questions. And unlike Google or any other traditional search engine, no ads, at least not now, maybe soon. So let's open up Perplexity.ai and let's type in the same query that we did with Google. What is the best business planner? Simple, straightforward text box. You hit the little button on the side or click the enter in your keyboard. And there you go. It comes up with answers. And if you'll notice, much, much different than a Google response. No ads. It actually gives you some product information right there. And if you keep scrolling down, as you see at the bottom of Business Planners for Entrepreneurs, it'll actually give you different areas where you can buy these things. So not necessarily ads, but it's just not cluttering up your search area, and it's giving you the information that you need in one place, unlike some of the other traditional search engines. And at the bottom, related questions that you could possibly ask, and the AI actually creates these. And these might be some possible questions that you do want to ask about a business planner or anything else that you've queried the AI about. So unlike Google, the type in search query and just type it and get stuck with all of this mess on the screen and all of these ads. Stop doing that and start using AI. Now here's your tip for us over 50 folks. Embrace AI search, use it every day, start using it in your research, introduce your coworkers to it, including your boss. You can use your deep knowledge of whatever it is that you do professionally, and you can generate more insightful analysis and solutions using AI search. And as an over 50, take the lead in AI and AI search in your organization. And that's what I call job security for us folks over 50. So remember, always use AI search platforms, use them daily, start getting off the Google, start getting off the Bings, start with Perplexity, it's free, then move over to the paid version of ChatGPT and use it there. It's $20 a month on ChatGPT. It's the best $20 a month you'll ever spend, and of course the other features that ChatGPT offers as well. But AI search, use it. Well, I'm at marktenet.net, and check out the website. We're actually getting ready to do a big redo of the website. There's some sources there. We have a Facebook page, and also connect with us on LinkedIn. I'm at Mark E. Tenet. Or if you have a question about this AI search or anything about AI, please drop me a note, mark@marktenet.net. I'd be happy to help. Until next time, keep refining your prompts, use AI search, keep learning, and keep using AI. Take care.